Spurs Bros! Welcome to a special edition of the Spurs Bros Podcast. We are pumped for today's guest. If you're a real Spurs fan, you already know his voice. He's the one walking us through every alien-esque Wemby highlight, every Stephon Castle dunk, and every heart-pounding moment of Spurs basketball. You hear him alongside Spurs legend Sean Elliot night in and night out, where they bring the energy, insight, and passion to every broadcast. Today, we are hyped to welcome Jacob Tobey, the youngest play-by-play announcer in NBA history and the newest voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Jacob's early journey has already taken him far, growing up in Sandwich, Massachusetts, to TV gigs across the country and now courtside at the Frost Bank Center. At just 28, you are doing more than just calling games. You are becoming an integral part of the Spurs culture. So we're thrilled to just dive right in. And without further ado, Jacob Tobey, welcome to the Spurs Bros Podcast.
Thank you, bros. I appreciate it. I do have to slightly correct you. I think Marv Albert is calling Nick games at like 21. Yeah, you know, the greatest voice in NBA history, 21 years old. Like, you know, we'll give him his shine. Right. We'll give him his credit.
Hey,
I am young, I will say, but Marv Albert, I think, was like 21. So it's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, then,
one of the youngest.
Thank you for the correction there, Jacob. Yeah, I thought for sure, looking at the research, that, hey, you were the youngest. But you know what? 28 is still damn good.
I'm lucky. I'll just put it that way. I'm lucky.
All right, man. So we just want to jump right into it. You know, going into your first season with the Spurs last year, you know, you had a chance to ask Coach Pop in the pregame media session. You said, hey, any advice for me? Right? I know you posted this online on socials, and I'm really glad you did. And Pop says back in his, you know, classic Pop-esque response, he said, quote, just be who you are. Don't try to be anyone else. And if people don't like that, then screw them. And so I just want to say, you know, or ask you, is looking back on year one, how do you feel you did living up to that advice, both on and off air?
Yeah, I first of all, like, meeting him was an experience unlike anything other. I think you hear so much, especially growing up on the East Coast, right? I'm from Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. I don't get to watch a ton of Spurs basketball because it's, you know, when they were winning, and I was younger and I wasn't staying up late at night because their games were on at, you know, 10, 11 o'clock at night back home in Massachusetts. So you just hear things, you see clips about Pop, the Spurs. I knew some things but didn't know the whole picture. And as I got older, I kind of started to realize this guy is legit and, you know, the greatest ever. But I hadn't met him yet, so I didn't really know how he was going to feel about me or whatever. And when I met him for the first time, I was having dinner with Sean, and he came by, and he was so nice, so gracious with his time. He was giving me a little crap, kind of gave it back to him. You know, it was like, all right, I'm here now. Like, let's have a little fun, coach. And then I saw him on media day, and he shook my hand, and he was like, wow, we actually hired you. Like, I voted against you. So, he gave me his classic Pop thing, but he was very gracious, and it stinks that I only had, you know, 5 or 6 games with him. He's the greatest ever, right? And so love and appreciate what he's done for this community and this organization. I think he is the epitome of being himself. I mean, he was doing it his way for 29 years, and I think it's weird because you go into a situation where someone was there for a long time, Bill Land, one of the greatest to ever do it, respect him, love him, admire him. But I'm totally different than him, and I was not trying to be him. I was not saying the same things he was saying, although people wanted me to. I was not acting like him. Like, I'm a 28-year-old that has had a total different life experience than Bill, and so I try to bring that life experience into the games that I call, and I take a high responsibility in the fact that we're documenting history, and it's Victor's career and all these other star players, and Sean and I are one of the only minority, you know, pairings in the league, and I take all those things into consideration, you know, with my Native American background. And so I think when that stuff started to come out, that was when it really sort of hit. And when I was giving Sean crap, like, he'd give it back to me, like that chemistry built over time. And so I think, you know, all in all, pretty good job of just sort of trying to be myself. I wasn't trying to implant myself into the game. I was just trying to add to the game and not be a distraction, especially my first year, just trying to slide in there. Our crew's been here for 30 years. My boss has been here for 35 years directing Spurs basketball games. Our producer's been here almost 30 years. And so it's a situation where I'm just sliding right in, trying to make it easy for Sean, trying to call the game the right way, not be too much of a pain, and move on to the next game. And so, I hope I did a good job of that. We had fun. Sean had a great time. He was laughing a bunch of times during the game. So that's how I sort of knew. I was like, all right, like I can be a little bit more comfortable.
Sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you about, was kind of filling, the shoes of Bill Land, because like you said, people have been here for 2-3 decades, and it's a major time of transition with Pop and Bill both cycling out kind of right as you got here. So what has Sean done to maybe make things easier on you, or like you said, just the jabbing, but maybe behind the scenes, you have to develop your own relationship with him. He's been used to Bill for his entire play calling career. So what were some of the behind the scenes things that maybe got you more comfortable in the seat, or just being alongside Sean Elliott?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was new for everybody. Like every single person, the Spurs have known Sean and Bill for 21 years. The PR department has known how they work for 21 years. Our producer, director, graphics, like they all have been working together for so long. And so, I'm just sliding in, and again, just trying to make it very simple on everybody, not trying to be a pain in anyone's butt, just trying to call the game the right way. And I think Sean, pulled me aside and sort of did the Pop thing too. He's like, dude, just be yourself. Like you got here for a reason. We picked you for a reason. You are really, really good, and we want you here for a long time. And so going out to dinner with Sean was a big help. Like first road trip, and it's ironic because we're going to Miami for our first road trip of the season in the preseason this year. It was the same thing last year, and Sean took me out to dinner. And so I expect him to do the same thing again. No, I'm just kidding. He took me out to dinner. And we just had like an open and honest conversation, and maybe, had 3-4 glasses of wine and just talked about not even really basketball. Like when Sean and I talk, like we don't talk a ton of basketball off the mic. I mean, we do, but we talk golf, we talk other sports, we talk life. Like he's a big culture guy, and so we talk about like my Native American background a lot and stuff like that. And he's big into traveling, and I studied abroad in Spain, and so I actually brought those things up when I met him for the first time when we had dinner, when I was sort of interviewing for the job, and that's where Pop came by and said hi. And so we just kind of connected on that front. And so when I can talk basketball with him, no problem. That's easy. I just tee him up and let the man go. He's seen 24 years of calling Spurs games, and he played and won a championship and was a 2-time All-Star. So like that stuff's easy. It's just the chemistry aspect of it. And so going golfing with him was another fun thing, and just hanging out with him, man. He's the nicest guy anyone will ever encounter. He takes care of our crew. He takes care of fans. He never says no to an autograph, never says no to a picture. Will help me out anytime I need. I can call him, text him. He's there. And so beautiful. I just feel super lucky that I'm paired with him. When he started, he retired, or he was hurt. Remember, he got hurt. He started doing a little bit of games, and he came back, and then he retired, and then he went right into the booth. So he was the rookie. When he first started. Now it's his chance to groom the next guy, right? And I was that rookie, and so he was a mentor. And I told him that when I met him, I said, I want you to be my mentor. I want to learn from you. Man. And so I think we just had a very open and honest relationship going forward, and we just try to make it fun and entertaining.
Dude,
Sean,
one of the best.
Awesome.
Bro.
He's a Spurs bro. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You're talking a lot about y'all's dinners. I've had these times off the court. As Spurs fans ourselves our whole life, we've always heard the infamous stories about Pop dinners on the road, taking the staff out, multiple glasses of wine, keep the night going, whatever. Has like Mitch kind of kept that going this past season? And if so, like, are you invited to those, or is it kind of you and Sean on y'all's own? What do y'all do kind of post game or nights off on the road? What's it look like?
I think Mitch did keep it up last year just because there was so much uncertainty with Pop, and didn't know necessarily if he would come back or not. So they sort of did keep up a tradition of doing those things. I would say that Sean can go anywhere he wants at any time because he's Sean Elliott. Cool. I got to earn my stripes on that one a little bit. So I'm more or less not going to those things at the moment. But I mean, we find ways to hang out on the road. All of us, staff, broadcast team, not so much the players, they're on their own, and that's how it should be. But we find ways to just be together. I started, I'm a musician, so I started bringing my guitar on the road a little bit, and jamming with Bill Schoening, radio announcer for a long time, who's a musician, and we were jamming, or I brought the guitar up one night to the assistant coach's room, and we were playing and hooting and hollering, and like that to me is like money. Like that was so fun. And so that stuff will continue this year, I'm sure. But yeah, that's just kind of how the road works. I mean, everyone can go their separate ways, or everyone can come together, and we kind of choose to come together.
Awesome.
Man.
That's how you create that brotherhood and memories that last a lifetime.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about this on the spot. I feel like that's just kind of what I said from the intro for you. You're already becoming an integral part of this, the Spurs organization. I think that unique talent, which I don't think we'll be able to get to today, and just talking about, how you love to sing and you're a guitar player and everything like that. Hopefully we can have you back and we can talk more about it. But I think that's beautiful to use your talent to bring the staff closer together. Kind of, you're creating that community. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, it's everyone's talented in many different ways, and
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what the Spurs preach too, right? I mean, it's not, you don't just do one thing well, you do a bunch of things really, really well. So I think that's just a fun part about life, really. It's just you can do multiple different things, and people connect with all, like music connects everybody, sports connects everybody. That's why I'm in this thing, because it connects us all.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. It's awesome that you lean into it. And so my next question to you, sort of along those lines, is, becoming more involved in the organization is and what's really cool from me to see looking from the outside in is how much the organization has already trusted you with things just beyond the broadcast itself, right? So whether it was welcoming Coach Mitch as our newest head coach at the Rock, helping Harrison Barnes unveil his new court, as part of his foundation and stuff, being there when Steph Castle was announced Rookie of the Year, the list goes on. What's it meant to you to be thought of and just called on so early in your career to be just part of this organization in such a visible way, right? You're already the voice of the Spurs, but just, just being more involved with the organization just outside of the broadcast.
Yeah, it's everything I wanted. I just wanted a franchise to embrace me and take me on and use me in many different areas. Like I'm not just a play-by-play guy. I've been playing music since I was 5. I've been entertaining people since I was 5, so I can get up on a stage and talk in front of people or perform or whatever it is. I can host events, MC events. I can help out with stuff. Again, you're not just that one thing. You're a bunch of different things. And so I told them when I was interviewing, I was like, I want to not just call the games. I want to do interviews. I want to do features. I want to write certain things and voice them and put them on social media. I want to MC your events. Use me whenever you want. And they have taken a liking to that and have gone full throttle with it. And so I'm just appreciative that they see in me what I kind of always knew, and I just needed the right opportunity, right? I had a couple different shots at the NBA a couple years before I got the Spurs job, and those didn't work out, and that's fine because I landed in an amazing situation. I love this city. It's amazing. I feel like I really do belong here, and things happen for a reason. I truly believe that. And so, yeah, some of the other opportunities didn't happen, but this one did, and so I'm going to take full advantage of it. It's not every day that an organization puts everything on the line for you, and they did that. They had known one thing for 20 years. They could have hired a more established person to keep that thing going, and they took a chance and hired the young kid from Massachusetts, which is not easy to do. But I give my bosses a lot of credit. I give the Spurs a lot of credit. R.C. Buford, Coach Pop, Peter J., all of them I think are really, really welcoming and have been truly amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think I was reading kind of back to your time at Suffolk University where all the programs that were available for up-and-coming broadcasters or people who wanted to go into media, and you were behind the camera and you were editing clips and you were doing every facet of the process. And that's something that stood out to another one of your influences or mentors, Brian Anderson, who worked for the Spurs for a long time. And I think I also read that Brian's biggest piece of advice to you was to listen to yourself call a game, because that'll weed out 99% of people who want to do this sort of thing. We had to do that when we started this show. So in doing that, what was maybe the biggest thing that you learned in listening to yourself call a game?
I will say, it is agonizing still to listen back to yourself and critique, but that agonizing feeling makes you not want to do that agonizing thing next time. And so it sort of puts a bullet point in my head of, all right, I can't do these things anymore. I need to grow. I need to develop. I can't do these certain things. And so when I listen back, I just think making it conversational is the hardest thing, because you're calling the game. You're literally calling what's happening, but you're sitting there with somebody, in this case, number 32. Right. And you want to engage and make it feel not as if it's I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk. It's I'm going to announce something, and then Sean, like, I'm going to set him up and let him go, and he's going to say something back, and we're going to actually like talk about it. So that's the hardest thing for young announcers, in my opinion. And I'm a young announcer still, so it's ever evolving. But just to get into that conversational flow state is something that's very, very tricky, and it takes a lot of reps. And I had reps in college. I had reps doing college basketball, but I wasn't a full-time play-by-play guy. I was always on the side. And so last year was the first year of my life where I just announced games and did nothing else. And so, and I got better, and I did the WNBA in the summer, and I got even better in the summer. And so just think about that, right? Reps, reps, reps. This business is all about how many times you do something and getting better at it. And BA is, man, I owe everything to him. He did not have to be there for me at any point in my career. He could have said no when I went up to him when I was in college and asked him to basically teach me everything he knew. And he said yes. He gave me his email, and we have conversed ever since basically 2018. And he's been there for me every step of the way. I can text him. I can call him right away. He'll pick up. We'll talk everything through. I was in tears pretty much when I called him that I got the Spurs job, and he was so happy. Like, and it makes me emotional now because I just love him so much, and he is the epitome of sports broadcasting because he started as the camera guy for the Spurs, and then started as the sideline reporter, and then graduated to doing the Brewers, and then NBA on TNT. And my path is the same way. Like, I had a camera in my hand at my news stations in Oklahoma, in Denver, and I was editing, and then I got to do play-by-play in college, and then I got to do play-by-play for the G League, and then I got to do play-by-play in the NBA. And so me and him I'm not Brian Anderson. I'm just saying, like, the start of our careers are so similar, and so I have so much respect for the dude. I owe him everything, and it's all about mentorship, and his big thing is just do it for the next guy. And so anytime someone reaches out, I'm willing to help out because he was there for me, and he was giving me his time. He's one of the busiest guys in the country. So if he gave me his time, who am I to say no to the next person?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome you get to call Brian Anderson one of the most well-known sports broadcasters, the dude. And you're that familiar with him. I saw you when you guys were in Milwaukee. You brought him on camera, and like you can tell that you guys have a really cool bond. So that's awesome. You have somebody like that helping you out as you get going here.
Yeah, it just helps. I mean, little questions too. How should my mic be set up? Should I be hearing it this way or that way? Where do I, how do I travel? How do I, do I bring a suit bag? Do I fold my suits in my suitcase? The first question I literally asked him at a Celtics game when I was in college back in Boston was, how do you do your notes? I had no idea how to do notes.
Sure.
So those little things that people don't necessarily think of are the big things. And he was helping me rehearse for interviews previous to the Spurs. I mean, he would jump on me on Zoom, and I would just call games to him on Zoom, and he would just listen and critique me in real time.
Wow.
And that takes
That's
time,
awesome.
like effort, like, so that to me was everything, like everything.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
How you were just talking about, you're always evolving. You did WNBA this past summer. How do you improve over summer? Like you said, there's always room for improvement. We saw Jeremy working on his 3-point game this summer. We saw Wemby, clearly kind of like working on his mental toughness. Not that he needs it, but just always looking for ways to get better. He was with KG. He was with Hakeem. He, was a freaking monk for 10 days. What's something that you do over summer to keep getting better, stay sharp, and, kind of ramp up into the new season?
Yeah, I actually sort of changed my organization, my notes a little bit in the summer, and I sort of used that as an avenue. I was sort of coming off of my college basketball stuff before I got to the Spurs, and it was a decent way of doing stuff, but I knew I wanted to change. And with the NBA, you get more thrown at you, and there's more information available, there's more services available. And so, I was making kind of my own boards and typing in every little thing in college basketball, but now I sort of get, a template sent to me that has some information, but I can put my own information into it. I have a notebook where I write a lot of stuff down as well. I have an iPad that I put stuff in OneNote. And so my process, I think I cleaned up over the summer. And just every day calling a game still is keeping you sharp, keeping my chops up.
Yep.
Again, keep working on that conversational flow. Learning a new league is hard, I was a fan of the W, but I didn't know it intently. And so now I sort of do and can make those connections to the NBA, right? I mean, a lot of these players are friends with each other. The NBA is connected to the WNBA, and so there's similar things going on with the growth of the league. Like the growth of the W now, like it's going up and it's hitting its peak. The NBA had its peak, and so the W is going through what the NBA had gone through, and so there's parallels to there, just knowing all those things. And so it was a big summer for me in that sense, and I'm so grateful for Golden State for bringing me on. I did half their games and got to announce the first ever game in their history, and to be the first voice is truly amazing. And I love the league, and I hope I get to keep doing it for a long time.
Heck yeah. Are there any clear differences, like being around the WNBA compared to the NBA, and like that organization compared to ours? Differences, similarities?
Yeah, I mean, there are too many to think of. I just think the Spurs have been a long established franchise. The Valkyries were totally new. They were trying to figure it out. The way they do things is totally different than the way the Spurs do things. So there's a lot of different avenues you can take it. The game is the game. I mean, basketball is basketball. It is evolving. Like, they're starting to shoot threes more. They're starting to, do less mid-range. There are stars in that league. There are stars in the NBA. And obviously everything's being talked about right now because their collective bargaining agreement is up, and the NBA's gone through those things too. So there are similarities. There are a lot of differences, but I like the juxtaposition, if you will, of being able to do both and experiencing two different things.
Sure. So Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese?
Wow.
Come on, dude.
I mean, I like all WNBA players.
There we go. Yeah.
So do we.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, hey, speaking about the Spurs, as kind of Stu mentioned, and you mentioned Wemby and Jeremy and a few others.
Time out, by the way. Do I get a hat after this? Do I get your hat?
Absolutely.
You already know it. We're gonna ask for your address. We're gonna give you all the goodies, man. Don't worry.
Right.
I think we're just gonna.
4 different.
I will wear it. I don't wear hats a ton, but like if I'm golfing, I'll wear a hat. So if I'm golfing with Sean, I'll wear it, and give you a little shout out. That'd be fun.
We'll send you plenty. Throw one his way if you want.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send you a field to the Rock and put your name on the box.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. Yeah. Back to it though. So as someone who's gotten to witness our young talent up close and personal over the past season, just like what were a couple of your favorite moments that you've experienced so far, and kind of second to that question is like, who's impressed you the most so far, maybe even outside of Wemby, because we know who Wemby is, and just those things.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think it was November 13th, so that's 2 or 3 weeks into the season last year is when he scored 50 points.
Yep.
That to me was probably the biggest moment of the season, and it was my third week on the job.
Fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't screw this up. If I screw up a 50-point game, I'm out of here. So, and I don't think I screwed it up. I think it was pretty good. So
great.
That was like peak moment for me. I think Steph just continuing to grow, and I think the game in Atlanta where he had 2 amazing dunks. He was back home in his home state, had a windmill, had another poster dunk in front of Dominique Wilkins, who does the color for the Hawks on the broadcast. That was a big moment. That was also De'Aaron's debut, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so that was a big game. De'Aaron's game winner in, was it Memphis, I think it was. He had a big shot in Memphis.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Harrison Barnes at the end of the season in Golden State. Like, those were the most fun moments. As an announcer, as a kid wanting to do this forever, getting to announce a buzzer beater in real time at an NBA game is everything I've ever wanted. I've been practicing that 10 million times in my basement, screaming my face off on Xbox, like turning the announcer's sound down and calling the game to myself. Like, my parents thought I was psychotic, but now it makes sense because I'm doing the thing for real, and that's how I make a living. So recreating those moments and actually doing them for real easily was the best part. And there is so much young talent. I'm super excited to watch Dylan and Carter. I think Carter, they're both impressive in their own ways, but Carter is mature beyond his years. Just in conversation with him, he's very calm, cool, collected. His defense at Summer League was amazing. I think he has a chance. If he's going to play defense like that, it's going to be hard for Coach Mitch to be like, you're a rookie, sit. Like, it's going to be hard. Like, if you're going to defend like that, like, you will play in this system, because Mitch's biggest thing is defense. It's all plastered at the practice facility. Defense. And that's what they're going to emphasize this year. And thank God they have someone that may win the Defensive Player of the Year in Victor, who should have already probably won one, if not two. So it's exactly two of them. So I think you're going to see that in a lot of these cats and a lot of these young players and the veterans too. I'm super excited for Luke Cornett, who is a guy that's won a title and is one of the funniest guys out there. Great team guy. I think he's going to be a super, super encouraging teammate to everyone else around him in the locker room. I think everyone's already kind of felt that, even in just the staff. I asked everyone on media day or content day, like, how is walking around with Luke? And their eyes light up because he's just the best. So those are some of the things that I think about in terms of moments from last year, and then some of the things that are coming this year. It's really the first time in 5 or 6 years that everyone is on the same page and excited that there is something being built and the winning is actually going to start.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't, it's to our dismay. We talked about one of our last shows before we kind of took a break was it's us and the Hornets with the biggest playoff droughts across the league. And as 2019, a lot of people are saying this is the best team that, with highest expectations since 2017. The year that Kawhi went down against Golden State. So a lot of expectations. How do you think some of the guys that have been here, like Keldon and Devin, specifically, I think, that have been here for basically all of this losing, how do you think they're adjusting to the raise in expectations coming into the season? And it's like, it's time to kind of, put up or shut up, if you will, and prove that we can go take that next step and make some noise in the playoffs instead of just a buzzer beater that has ramifications to the guys actually going to the dance.
Yeah, I think they welcome it. Keldon is 26, and he's like, I'm the old guy now. It's like, yes, technically you are the old guy, but you're still in you haven't even hit your prime yet, technically. I mean, 28, I feel like it's the NBA prime. So, and Devin's a proven, 20-point per game scorer, and those. I think it's just they understand now. They understand what it takes. They've lived through this sort of rough period. They've learned from it. I mean, Keldon his career was started in the G League. Like that builds you a certain level of toughness that he carries with him, and you can see it in the way he plays and his infectious energy. And Devin is like super talented around the rim and scoring and shooting and all that stuff. And I think he's feeling great physically, coming off of a summer where he was finally healthy. Like, those are big things. And so Brian Wright, general manager, has talked about it too. There's just different level of maturity that he can sort of sense. There's a great mix of players, both young and vets. And it's going to take some time, right? Again, only 5 games between Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. Like, that is still going to develop. Everyone has to get healthy. Dylan Harper, Jeremy, like they're coming along here in the preseason. Kelly Olynyk, a newcomer. So it may not look the way it's going to look right off the bat, but patience. It's a long season. Coach Mitch praises patience, and we'll see. We'll see when they lace them up. But that's the best part about it, is every season's new, every season's different, and for us, we get to sit there and enjoy basketball.
Heck yeah! Speaking of the new season, we just had the scrimmage. We got a preseason tonight. What was like your biggest takeaway from the scrimmage that you saw, what you maybe wanted to see that you didn't see? And, just more like expectations for this year, other than winning and growth, like, whole new coaching staff as well. What are we kind of hoping for, expecting to see, what's going on in the building right now? What's everyone's expectations?
Yeah, I think the scrimmage was awesome. I was talking to Harrison Ingram about it on the floor before the game, and he's looking around and he's like, this is way louder than last year. And there was different energy in there for sure. And now Victor's new fan group supporter, the Jackals, are finding their way, and it's going to be a fun thing to see evolve throughout the year. And they were a big part of the scrimmage, just in terms of practicing the chants and what they're going to do. And that stuff's going to take time too. I know some people were like, oh, it wasn't perfect. Well, yeah, it wasn't perfect. Was I perfect the first ever game y'all heard me? Heck no. So was a rookie on the court perfect the first game? No. That's what I try to tell people all the time, especially last year, was like, if you get a new job, you need time to develop in it. You can't just be good at it right away, especially if you're a rookie. Like, if you're a 20-year veteran playing or announcing, like, yeah, you can go in and do your job right away. But if you're a new guy, like, it takes time. And so same thing with the supporter group. Same thing with the rookies. It's going to take time. The fans, I think, were really jacked up. And, I mean, let's be honest, the scrimmage was all about Victor looking healthy, making that move, bumping Luke out of the way and jamming it like Shaq. That is all we as Spurs fans needed to see. Was we've heard he's healthy. We've got the all clear from Mitch. Let's actually see it on the court. And it was fun to just watch him out there sort of, do his thing. And that's, he's happy again. And he's loving being out there. And that's the best part about it. And so I think there's a lot to be excited about. The new coaching staff we'll be watching for sure. Sean Sweeney's going to head that defense. He's been with the Mavs the last couple of years. And Corliss Williamson, who's, been in the Final Four in college as a player and been assistant coach around the league. Like, he's coming in. Scott King from Austin, the G League Coach of the Year. He's been added to the staff. He's earned it. He put in that work like Coach Mitch, right? So
yeah.
Coach Mitch started his career in the G League. He won a championship there. He gets to go to the next step. And so does Scott King and a lot of the other coaches that were here last year too. I think there's just excitement of continuity. Not a lot has changed. Yes, Mitch is now the head coach, but he kind of already was anyways. The stats say so. They gave the record that he had to him permanently. So there's just the building is alive. It's juiced. The fans are juiced up. I think they haven't felt this way, like you guys said, since 2019. So, and I wasn't around. I'm just that's going off of what I hear. Mm-hmm. But there's so much optimism, and you got to go out there and do it. You got to go out there and win. But we are so ready to just get this thing started in the preseason and just see how it goes and get everybody healthy, and then see what happens, man. It's gonna be fun.
Can't wait. I know we're starting to run long, or not run long, but you got to go soon. So I have one last question, kind of more fun, just about you yourself.
Yes.
You're from the Cape Cod region, specifically Sandwich, Massachusetts. So you probably have had this question come up, but is Sandwich, Massachusetts known for sandwiches? Are there good sandwiches? And have you had any discussions with Matt Bonner, the famous sandwich connoisseur, about, sandwiches from the Northeast region? He's really, really passionate about it.
I haven't actually met him yet because he's kind of in Toronto now.
He went to Toronto, yeah.
We were there once this year, obviously, but I think I didn't get to say hi to him. Dan Weiss was talking to him for a little bit on our halftime show, but I didn't get to see him. So I have not talked to him about it. Sandwich, Massachusetts. I mean, no, it's not known for. There are good sandwiches there. Like, one of my favorite meatball subs ever is from there. And I have to say, I am on a journey to find the best meatball sub around. I think the best one is in Sandwich at this place, a local kind of market called Lambert's. So if you guys know any meatball subs around the city, please let me know. I'm on a journey to find that. But Northeast is known for those kind of things, right? Steak and cheese, or cheesesteak, if you guys want to say it, or meatball subs. So I'm always sort of partial to that area for that. Tacos down here, all good. That's yes. Nothing that we can even sniff back on the East Coast. But yeah, it's interesting. I always get laughs. Like, if I go speak at schools or whatever, and I say I'm from a town called Sandwich, it's very funny. There's a meme on
think it's hilarious.
Social media with the police car that says Sandwich Police, and it's the Sandwich Police. But
that's awesome.
I don't know, man. It's the oldest town on Cape Cod.
Wow.
It's very historical. My Native American tribe, is from a town over called Mashpee. They were there before the town of Sandwich, but that's just how the state looks at it now. Is Sandwich is the oldest town, but. So I'm from a very historical area. I went to school in Boston, so all the history there. And so I'm a big history guy. I love that stuff. But yeah, Sandwich, not known, I guess, for the sandwiches, except my favorite meatball sub at this place called
Lambert's. Yeah,
yes.
100%. We'll clip this and we'll see if we can reach the nation.
I don't even know if they have. I don't think they have social media, but we can try.
Well, somebody does, and
the old school.
Well, hey, we'll wrap this up with this final question for you. You mentioned a lot during this podcast and on other podcasts in the media, you lean into your Native American heritage, and you mentioned being part of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe.
Good pronunciation. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Hey, we might not know about Marv, but we do some homework. So
we made up for my intro. Let's go.
You can re-edit that,
Yeah.
True.
I'm not a fan of editing. I always say, no, we print out what we talk.
Unfiltered.
Right? The receipts are there. I'll always remember you for, slighting me with Marv Albert. No, it's fine.
If we edited every mistake, people would hold us to a standard of perfection, and that's just not something we can meet.
Facts.
So
Facts.
Either way, so being part of that tribe, and if I'm not mistaken, right before your first season, ironically, with the Spurs, you received your Native American name, Strong
Yep.
Oak.
Yep.
And so it kind of just like dawned on me, like there's something poetic about that because, here you are, the voice of the Spurs, a team with, wait for it, roots that run deep in San Antonio's culture. And so, had that naming come about, like how do you get that name? And then secondly is, when you think about what Strong Oak represents, like, do you see parallels between that and what you're building here as part of this franchise in this community?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I've been, long story short, I've kind of been on this 4 or 5 year journey of sort of finding that Native American culture and identity. I didn't grow up necessarily in it for various reasons, for various family reasons. But sort of after I went to college and sort of went into the real world, and I lived in Oklahoma where there's a strong Native community there, and I went to Denver and there's a Native community there as well. I sort of got reconnected to it, and I have actually kind of been partnering with this Native American basketball tournament, the biggest high school tournament in the country for Native youth. It's called NABI. I've been kind of announcing their championship games the last couple summers in Phoenix, and I was out there and I honestly felt a little embarrassed and sort of ashamed because I wasn't in tune as much as some of the other people there, and a lot of them have Native names. And so I was like, you know what, I want to get my Native name. And basically what happens is we have a powwow, which is sort of a gathering of all of our tribe every single summer on the 4th of July weekend of every summer. And on the Sunday of that weekend at sunrise, we go to our Native American cemetery back home, and our medicine man is the one that provides us with our name. And you bring your family and you can bring a couple friends, and they just speak about you in front of everybody, and that's how he gets to sort of know you. And then he may take you on a walk to the cemetery, and that's how you find that's how he gives you your name. And so my mom, my dad, my girlfriend all talked about me. I kind of talked about myself in front of everybody, and then he kind of brought me on a walk, and we were just kind of walking, and then he was like, I got it, Strong Oak. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I wasn't expecting that. I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest with you. And I think he said something to the effect of, you may not realize it now, but you'll understand why soon. And I was like, okay. And I loved it. And then I got, this Native American bolo tie that you guys may have seen that I've worn on air a couple times. My cousin Rinny makes Native jewelry and all those things. And then she put an oak tree in the middle. And Strong Oak is like strength, obviously, the roots, leadership. And I've always felt that I was sort of a natural leader in school or in sports. And so it just sort of fit. And I think representing the culture is a big deal. There's a 14,000 year history in San Antonio of Native Americans. The missions, the Alamo, and all the other missions, like those are Native American stories before anything else. And I actually went on a tour this summer and met with the folks there and really got the perspective of it and really understand how that story goes, because not a lot of people know that story. Mm-hmm. The story of Thanksgiving is completely different actually than what we know. And so those things I've learned over the last couple of years. I've started reading books on my tribe. I've started reading books on the history of Mashpee, the town that our tribe is from. I don't know, it's just important. I think to represent people, right? There's been this look of announcers in sports in general for a long time, and to be sort of outside that standard look, for Sean and I to be a minority pairing in the league, one of the only ones, like that's important to me. It's important to him. He calls me Strong Oak on the air. He loves it. He leans into it. And it's just to raise awareness, because some people may message me and be like, what was that? What was that you were wearing? What does that mean? Where are you from? It's an educational thing. And so I take great pride in that. I love doing it. And I'm going to wear some more jewelry that I got over the summer at a couple other powwows. And I'm just excited, man, for people to learn more about it and to embrace it, because some people kind of honestly forget that Native Americans still exist. Obviously, I'm here. We do exist. Yeah. And I want our people to be thought of still, because so much bad happened in the past. And that's why I'm so pumped for Lindy Waters to be here, one of 3 Native American players in the league. Me and him are working on doing an Indigenous Native night at a Spurs game this year, holding meetings about it right now. We'll announce, all those details when we have them in full. So that's going to be a really, really special night for him and myself and the community here in San Antonio. So, man, I'm excited, and I'm very blessed that the Spurs have let me express myself that way, because who knows? Some other teams may not have let that happen, but they did, and I will forever be indebted to them because of that.
Yeah.
Love that, man. That's really cool.
Full circle.
Full circle, baby. That's what life's about.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jacob, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. We hope that we can have you back sometime. I know you're going to be super busy as the season gets started, but we'd love to have you back sometime in the future if possible. If you haven't heard it enough, we just want to say sincerely thank you, but also you belong, and thank you for being here. We are blessed to have you as part of the Spurs culture and community, and just literally being the voice of the Spurs. You're doing great, and I know exactly why now the Spurs hired you. You know, it makes so much sense, man. So
thank you. I think like I will say this. I mean, I go around town. People will say hi. It's not like I'm Sean Elliot, but people do
Right.
sometimes recognize me. And everyone's very nice and very welcoming, and it helps being from the Northeast. Have never lived in Texas. I've only been here a handful of times before for work. To have the community embrace and love on you and just give you that good stuff, that good, as we say in Native culture, that good medicine. That is everything, because that makes you feel more comfortable. And so the fact that you guys are having me on here, the fact that you guys have said nice things, all that stuff goes a long way. People may not realize it, but it does to a newcomer like myself. So appreciate y'all for real. Absolutely.
Well, you've done a great job kind of ingraining yourself. I mean, when I found out you're a 1,000-point scorer in high school, that elevated, my opinion of you. We already knew you knew ball, but clearly long background of that. But also, I'm from like the Castle Hills neighborhood. So the first time I heard you say Steph Castle from Castle Hills, I was like, all right, I like this dude. Like, that was my stamp of approval. So you've embraced the city just as much as the city is hopefully embracing you, and we appreciate you having on here.
That stuff's fun, and all that stuff comes out organically, right? I mean, it's not. I don't write stuff down. I try to just observe where I'm around and see things and hear things, and there's more to come, I'm sure. And whatever comes from here to the mouth is what happens. So we'll see what happens this year.
Awesome.
Well, last thing, brother. We end every podcast the same way. Reagan always ends us with and from the Spurs Bros, go Spurs, go.
Okay.
Would it be dope? It would be dope. We would love if you could end us out that way.
Absolutely.
Oh, let's go.
I'm gonna say from the Spurs Bros. Okay. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. From the Spurs Bros. Go Spurs, go baby. Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
All the way up.
That's awesome, man.
Thank
That's
you, man.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate you coming on, man. Good luck this season.